All right, guys, welcome back to another video. Lots to talk about today, but let's start off here with this with a brand new studio opening up from Infinity Ward in Austin. And this studio is going to be creating a new and innovative experiences with Call of Duty. So, a couple of things here that has kind of piqued my interest. First of all, opening up a new studio right now during a time where you look across the industry, there have been a lot of negative news stories coming out with people getting laid off, games being canceled, and just major cutbacks as there is a shift in the industry. We can all see it. Games are becoming more expensive. These companies are realizing that they have to really hone in and have better profit margins. And to do that, they're going to have to reduce their debt. So lots of cuts across the industry. We've seen this play out in major companies like PlayStation. The Embracer Group, who we will talk about a little bit later on, has been just absolutely terrible. But Xbox and Infinity Ward is now a first party Xbox studio. They have been growing. I mean, Machine Games opened up a new studio. We have here Infinity Ward opening up a new studio. They've seen employees increase at a lot of their studios. So lots of good things happening at Xbox that's going against the tide as to what is occurring across the entire industry. But this new studio, as I said, opening up in Austin, they're saying here that they are going to be working on new and innovative experiences for Call of Duty and create state of the art technology to power them. So obviously they see how huge Call of Duty is, how much money it makes every year. They need to be able to move the line on Call of Duty. It can't be always the exact same. There is that chance that at some point, if they continue doing the same thing, it seems like it will never happen, but it always happens in the free market, in any type of art, any type of game, any type of business that fails to innovate. If they don't ever look forward and try to innovate and make things better, somebody out there will come and overtake them. And I feel like this is kind of what they're thinking about here with this new studio, getting ready to prepare for the future rather than just waiting until they're forced to pivot, as something that we have been seeing this year with many companies who haven't been preparing for the future, having to make a bunch of these cuts. So we'll see what comes out of this. Maybe it's using new engines, maybe spin-offs from Call of Duty. I am the type of person when it comes to Call of Duty, I'm hoping, I don't think it will happen, but I am hoping that Call of Duty will get off of that regular yearly release schedule and go to more of keeping a game with maybe updated content for a couple of years, 2, 3 years, and then releasing a brand new game into the franchise. I think that would definitely help. And I think they'll still be able to make a ton of money from this franchise just by adding more DLC to it on a yearly basis rather than a brand new title. But we'll see what comes out of this new studio from Austin and from Infinity Ward. Now, when it comes to studio layoffs and all of that type of stuff, the one place that has been just continuously terrible has been the Embracer Group. And we have some more information about exactly what happened at the Embracer Group, the total amount of layoffs, the percentage of layoffs, and the amount of games that are being shut down. It is not good. Embracer has been very bad for gaming. It has been very bad since they've gone out and made all of these acquisitions. And now they're backpedaling and realizing that just because you have a bunch of stuff doesn't mean it's going to all be profitable, doesn't mean you're going to be successful. And you actually have to manage those games and manage those studios to be able to be successful in the industry. And we are seeing the huge negative effects that an Embracer has had happen to them because of their mismanagement. So, first of all, previously it was reported that the Embracer Group led to a bunch of closures and the dismissal of 5% of their workforce, which was now confirmed that this meant that 900 developers had been laid off as a result of those cutbacks. We know that the Saints Row studio Volition had to close down completely, which I think is a shame. Yeah, a lot of people hated the recent release of Saints Row, but the franchise as a whole is awesome, and I would have loved to see them try to bounce back from the recent release. We know that Tomb Raider developers Crystal Dynamics had been forced to lay off 10% of the workforce too. And there's also rumors that Free Radical Design, everybody there pretty much, has all been fired, and the new Time Splitters has been shut down by Embracer, which again, another just absolute shame because I was really looking forward to seeing Time Splitters come back. We saw yesterday it looks like Knights of the Old Republic remake is done. It's finished. It's canceled. They're not working on it. It is not moving forward. And honestly, like I said in yesterday's video, unless really a studio like Obsidian can come in and take it or something like that, I would just want to see it gone. I want to see it gone. I don't care. I don't want them to do a remake because I don't trust they're going to be able to do a good job, and I don't want them to ruin one of my favorite RPGs. And now we also know overall they've had some games that have made money, but it has been an absolute terrible, terrible time for the Embracer Group. And apparently 15 games have been shut down. So we'll see as this continues to unfold what more negative stuff is going to come from the Embrace Group. The question here is, will studios like Gearbox be available for sale, and will companies be bidding on it? Will this be one that Xbox is interested? Will it be something that PlayStation is interested? Because both those companies will be able to afford that. It's just which one would outbid the other to get it. I think Gearbox will be pretty desirable from both companies, or maybe even a company like Tencent's going to try to get in and get there. Like I've said before, Netflix is trying to get further into gaming. Maybe that's the one that they try to purchase. Who knows? Or are they going to keep Gearbox with Embracer? We will see as the months go on and as we go into 2024. All right, let's talk about some accessibility stuff and some controllers that have been banned. There was a major story over the last few weeks where Xbox was banning a bunch of controllers, and the only ones that would work were the ones that were designed for Xbox. If you've seen the boxes, they have the little sticker on there. It says designed for Xbox. Anything else that hasn't gone through their program essentially wouldn't be working. And this got a lot of people pissed off as it was affecting fight sticks. It was affecting some accessibility stuff. And a lot of other people on the other side were saying this is good because it is banning cheaters. There are some controllers out there that help people cheat, but it looked like those actually weren't officially being banned either, and some people were still be able to use them. So then there was more questions about what was going on with this entire thing with the unauthorized Xbox accessories and why Xbox was doing this. It just seemed like a bad move on their part. So this we have here from Jenny Leigh Fleury, who works on accessibility, equity, and product and inclusion at Microsoft. And here's what she says: recognize concerns generated by the recent Xbox unauthorized accessory update. This was to address console performance, safety, and security. The last thing we wanted to do is impact or drive confusion amongst disabled gamers, and we are working to address concerns raised. First, thank you to the community partners, organizations for conversations this week. There is more work to do, and we are actively working to find solutions in both the near and long term. We are committed to our enduring goal to empower everyone to play. Your accessory is only impacted if you received the error code. Please, if you have questions about existing setups, contact the disability answer desks. And they say here, we will continue to work with gaming and disability community to identify solutions. That includes accessibility hardware manufacturers of all sizes, waiving program fees to become authorized design for Xbox partners. We'll keep you updated. So there it is. There's the update. I mean, when I first saw this, my initial reaction was, why are they doing this? It makes zero sense why they should be doing this type of stuff. The only thing I could actually think of, the true reason would have been the bottom line. They want to make sure that the only accessory people are buying and the only accessories people are using are accessories that Xbox is going to make some money off of. So if you're going through the design for Xbox program, I'm sure they make some royalties or some money off of every time those accessories are sold. So I feel like that was the main reason. And then when I made my initial video talking about this, a lot of people in the comments were telling me about the Zim and Cronus controllers, which are cheating devices. It allows people to essentially use mouse and keyboard in controller lobbies, which obviously, if you've ever played a first-person shooter, using a mouse to aim it gives you a huge advantage over using a controller to aim. And a lot of people were thinking that it's actually good that they're doing this to get rid of those cheaters. But then it came out that those devices weren't even being blocked. So a lot of questions were raised as to why this was happening. She's saying here it is for performance, safety, and security. It could essentially be for that, but at the end of the day, if they're not blocking the cheaters, this is just making less and less sense why they're going out and blocking these unauthorized devices. Hopefully this all gets worked out. One of the things that is great about Xbox that we have seen in the past occur is that they hear people, they listen to people, and they generally do make some adjustments to make sure that the complaints are accounted for if what they have done is just kind of a stupid decision. So we will see going forward if any changes are made and if more people's accessories start to work again, if they aren't cheating devices and there's really no harm to use them. I hope that is the case. Now, when it comes to indie games in Xbox, we know they're huge now with AAA games. I mean, they have so many studios under their belts and it's overtaking all of the smaller indie stuff that Xbox is going to be putting out. And this may have people concerned is, are they going to start abandoning indie games? Are they going to really only focus on AAA stuff? I don't think that will ever happen. You see the power that indie games have within Xbox Game Pass, and it really does help grow the industry as we're getting more and more creative stuff. I personally think indie games right now as a whole are far more creative than the AAA stuff we're getting, because we see a lot of remakes, we see a lot of remasters, we see a lot of stuff that is just reused and reskinned, because the industry seems in some ways to have lost their creativity. Well, we have some more info here from Guy Richards, who is the ID at Xbox person, who talks about indies, ID at Xbox. Now, it's really not going to be going anywhere, even though Xbox now has more AAA studios than they have, and then they are publishing in terms of, or they can be publishing in terms of the indie stuff. It says here, the expansion of the company's number of first-party studios is not going to rid of its independent creators, the platform holder tells GameIndustry.biz. And here's what Guy Richards says. We have to emphasize that independent creators have never been more important to Xbox, and they will continue to be. The team working with indie creators has never been bigger, and we have never been investing in more indie games, whether it's through ID at Xbox or the Developer Acceleration Program designed to support creators from underrepresented groups. He says, we've already supported 100 of creators with that program, despite only announcing it at the Game Developers Conference this year. And it's a great example of how Xbox is trying to continue to grow across the world and include all creators, all genres, and all stories in games. That volume of diversity is unique to ID at Xbox, and it's not going anywhere. One of the things that Xbox has a huge advantage over, in my opinion, over all of the competition out there right now, or at least when you focus on the big three, which is Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox, is their diversity of games in their lineup. And what I mean is the genres of games. You have the first person shooters, the action adventures, the RPGs, the strategy games. All of these types of games are all coming out of Xbox first party studios. The one game that is getting a huge announcement on November 22nd, so tomorrow, is Killer Instinct. So they're even bringing back fighting as a genre that Xbox is going to be able to push forward as games on their platform in Game Pass and all of that type of stuff. So there are just games for everybody out there when it comes to Xbox, and having a strong ID at Xbox platform just makes that even better, because like I said, the indie games, you get creative stuff that you've really never seen, and a ton of games from indie devs drop day and date into the Xbox Game Pass service, which I think is great. We have some stuff we will talk about after going through this to just show how successful Game Pass can be and how Xbox is helping grow the industry when you have a lot of naysayers out there right when they announced Game Pass, and even today, who think that Game Pass is bad for the industry. Now, he also goes on, talks about some other stuff here. He says that they've paid over $4 billion in royalties to developers, which is insane. A lot of this has to do with the Game Pass deals and how much they're actually paying these developers to get their games in there, whether that is paying them just to have the game developed and marketed, or the pay per download. We saw how there are different pay structures for every Game Pass deal. Phil Spencer touched on this a while ago. So that's a lot of money that they are shelling out there for indie devs, which again, I think is great, because we're going to see a lot more cool games coming out because of this. And they go on a bit more and just talking about the financial side of things and the publishing side of stuff, and how some of these indie devs, like ID at Xbox, they think it's great, or a lot of them think it's great. However, the issue for a lot of these indie devs at the end of the day is going to be just getting those funds and stuff to be able to start those games and have the ability to be able to develop more games into the future. So we will see how the ID at Xbox game service expands, how many more games they get day and date. But one of those games that is huge, and it just came out onto Xbox Game Pass, is Spirit Tea. And Spirit Tea is published by No More Robots, and we know Mike Rose of No More Robots has talked plenty of times at how successful their games have been. A lot of that has been because of Xbox Game Pass, and this is no different with this new release from them. He goes over all of their stats for the release, and one of the main things he talks about here is the success of the game because of Xbox Game Pass. But first of all, one of the fascinating things he does mention is that you think about smaller games, right? Like Spirit, like these indie games, they're on Steam, and a lot of people discover these games through Steam. But this time, Steam was actually the weakest platform. Xbox and Switch accounted for 80% of revenue, which is huge. That this is a huge game on console. But when it comes to one of the main reasons, Xbox Game Pass, as usual, as he says, is that reason. It has been huge for this game. He says Spirity was actually meant to launch in 2022, but after we got a Game Pass deal, we decided, hey, let's make this thing even bigger and better. Hence the delay into 2023 and the 100+ hours of content. So just reading that is a massive win, obviously for the game, but for Game Pass and people out there who look at Game Pass to think, how does this help the industry? How does this help games? Well, not only does it help these games get discovered, not only does it help games make a ton of money, it's helping games actually have the confidence to make it bigger and better. And that's one of the main things whenever people debate about Game Pass, whether it's good or bad. I think at the end of the day, it's just way more positive than negative when you're a developer, you're creating a new game, and you're worried, is are you wasting all this time? You get a Game Pass deal, you instantly have all that pressure taken off of you because they're just giving you a bunch of money up front, so you could take more risks, you can make your games better. And obviously Spirity is one of those games that demonstrates that. And he says over 100,000 people have played the game on Game Pass in the last week. And he says that he's heard plenty of people say that they bought the game on Steam or Switch after playing the Game Pass version. So once again, a ridiculously good experience for us. So just another major example of how Game Pass helps games. And you're going to see other companies out there take a look at these examples, which I think will increase the chance that more games do come to Game Pass, especially from the indie scene. I think for major AAA games that are already so popular, it's just about how much money Xbox is willing to pay for those. But for smaller games that maybe have a lot more chance of failing, you have that Game Pass here that brings them out there and then allows these games to be discovered. Again, Spirity is one of those games. And let's jump over here. Let's talk about PlayStation. And there's some rumors here that Insomniac's Wolverine won't be releasing until 2025. I think a few days ago we saw there are rumors about it coming out in 2024. And if you sit back and think about it, we've seen nothing about Wolverine. So it coming out in 2024 really doesn't make too much sense. I think 2025 makes a ton more sense, but we have this here from a known leaker, Daniel Rickman, who says that the upcoming game will not be released in 2024, will be coming in 2025, but will also feature a darker and more violent tone than the past games from the studio. And as far as the location goes, it's set to be set in Madripoor, a Southeast Asian city within the Marvel universe. So I'm looking forward to Wolverine. I mean, I like Insomniac. I'm excited to see what they're going to be able to do with the character and with that world, especially what they've done with Spider-Man, which I think has been great. But this to me is concerning for PlayStation, that we don't even know what's coming in 2024. Really, the only thing we got announced right now is The Last of Us 2 remaster that literally nobody cares about and literally nobody wants. So what else do they have? They can't go 2 years here and not giving the fans a roadmap, which I think would just be a shame. So we'll see if this leak is true, or maybe this will be a late 2024 release, holiday season style of thing, and there's going to be a ton of excitement for that. But I'm going to end the video there, guys. If you did enjoy this video, hit that thumbs up. If you are new here, hit that subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.